our speaker for today. She was born and raised in Gary. She saw the need for a child care center that specialized in special education services due to not finding resources for her son. She also has an ABA service and helps parents navigate through their child's disability. Parents, she is you. When there were no services available, she created her own. I would like to present to some and introduce to others, Miss Juanesia Davis.
Thank you for that great introduction. I'm sorry, can you guys hear me? This one? This one? Okay. My name is Juanesia, and I am the founder of We Are the Village. We Are the Village is currently the only child care center that offers a special education program, and I am currently just opened up the first and only. Can you hear me now, baby? All right. And I currently just opened up the first and only ABA clinic in Gary. When I was preparing for my speech this morning, I realized that I've been preaching this same speech for 3 years now. I should not be the only child care center that offers services to children with autism, and I should have the one and only ABA clinic here in Gary. When I mention ABA therapy, everybody asks, what is ABA? ABA therapy is applied behavior analyst. It means that we find your child's way of learning and we implement that into your child's future. So I'm going to use my son as an example. I started my company for the year. He was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. And when I received that diagnosis, I did not know where to go. I didn't know who to talk to. Nobody in my family had autism. I didn't have any friends that had autism. I didn't really know. So the first thing I started to do was look up autism. Okay, let me figure out what autism is. And let me figure out what I can use to help my son, because they told me he would never talk. And you can't tell a feisty mama like me that my child would never do something. I carried this boy, so I'm gonna make sure that he does what he can do. So my main goal was to push my son to his best ability. And I couldn't do that alone. My family had to help me, and that's why I named my company We Are the Village, because it truly takes a village to raise a child. Nobody in my family knew anything about autism. So all of us were coming in this thing fresh, and the older people were like, oh, he's going to grow out of it. You don't have to worry about it. He's going to grow out of it. Oh, don't make a big deal about it. And I had to actually sit my family down and have a meeting with them like, hey, it's not a day. My son has autism, and autism is going to take over my son. We are going to help him be the best person that he can be. It takes a village to raise a child, and that's exactly what my family did. Now my son is 9 years old. He is talking, reading, writing. He actually read his first whole book this year in February. But it started, thank you. Thank you, I'm so excited, thank you. It started with ABA therapy. He had been receiving therapy since I noticed that he wasn't developing like his older brother. I have 3 boys. And so I had him getting therapy from First Steps. That was the first step that I took, and First Steps helped me tremendously. And then our next step was to go to Bethune. And what many parents don't know is that Bethune has an excellent special education program. They helped me potty train my nonverbal child. Their special education program is amazing. And I will always recommend that anybody take their child to Bethune. If you don't know, go to Bethune, because Bethune can help you with all the resources that you need. And being a mother that has a child with a disability, you are your child's first voice. You are your child's first voice. So if you put it on the back burner and say, oh, okay, I'll try to figure it out on my own, or it's okay, he'll grow out of it, that's the mindset that your child would have. If I was to sit down and say, okay, my child is nonverbal, he has autism, I'm going to just let him have it, I feel like my child would not be talking right now. He would not be reading right now if I didn't take initiative and become that first voice for him and be very strong about it. When it was time for him to transition from Bethune, I wanted him to stay at Bethune forever. And they were like, no, he's too old, he has to go. And I was like, okay, it's time for regular school now. It's time for the real world. They're not going to baby me. They're not going to hold my hand and walk me, so I have to figure out what to do. When I put him in school, they said that, oh, I should homeschool him because they didn't have the tools. They were honest with me. We don't know what to do. So maybe you homeschool him. And I was like, well, if I homeschool him, how will he be able to interact with the community? And that's when ABA therapy came to part. My son loves cars. He can actually build a car, take a car apart. We were riding up the street, and he was like, oh, that's an excavator or something. I was like, an excavator? What is that? So I had to look it up. And I was like, oh, it really is an excavator. He knew what he was talking about. So with ABA therapy, I always like to use this as an example. I taught my son how to count with cars. 1 car, 2 car, 3 car, 4 car. This is a red car, a blue car, a green car. Oh, can you go get me the A car? Can you go get me the B car? So that is how I implemented learning into his life. That's what ABA therapy does, and that's what ABA therapy is. We figure out your child's way of learning. We don't expect your child to sit down in a seat and learn like everybody else. If your child needs to run a classroom to learn the ABCs, you're going to run around a classroom with them and sing our ABCs, just so your child can be comfortable with learning. At We Are the Village, our main mission is to make sure that every child gets treated fairly, regardless of their ability. And I know that I can't do it alone. I need the help of my community. It's an amazing program. I think I saw by every table. And I've never heard of some of these amazing programs for these children. My program is from 2 to 12, from 2 to 12 years old. And I was okay, well, what are we going to do with older children? Because I had to outsource. I had to take my child to ABA clinic in Mirville, and that was very difficult. It really discouraged me because I had to take my son to one of my kids to Bethune and one of my kids to this school, and then I had to go all the way to Mirville to take my son to ABA therapy. And I did get discouraged, and I did want to quit, but if I quit, my son's going to quit. If I don't keep going, my son won't keep going. He wouldn't learn how I wanted him or how I needed him to learn, because I knew that home schooling wasn't an option. I needed him to be able to interact with people. I needed him to be able to, learn. I wanted him to be successful in learning, because when I'm not here, I wanted him to be okay. And so I took him to Mirville every day. Every day I got up and took him to Mirville so he can get his ABA therapies. And one day I was like, you know what? I can't do it anymore. Because I know it's parents like me that wanted to give up. I was parents like me that did give up. And I needed to become this resource for my families in Gary, Indiana. I asked everybody, where are you serviced at? Where are you serviced at? And not a lot of people said Gary, Indiana. And it's not your fault. But we need all of these services to come back to our community. We need these services to be here, because most of our families can't travel to Mirville. Most of our families can't travel to Hammond. Most of our families can walk up to the school building and try to get the help that they need. So we have to bring these services to our community. Our community may be small, but it's growing every day. We're having children every day. It's children coming to us every day. So all of my parents out there who feel like you are alone, you are not alone. You are not alone. You can contact me at We Are the Village, because it takes a village to raise a child, I understand. I have a podcast called Village Talk, and through the podcast, I express how I felt. And one of my episodes, one of my episodes, it talked about how I felt, and it talked about grief. And they're like, oh, grief only associated with death. No, grief is not associated with death. When my son was diagnosed with autism, I was grieving. I didn't know what to do. I needed to talk to somebody who was like me. I needed to talk to a mother who had a child like me. But I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it in my community. And I know it's a lot of strong mothers out there that's like me that cannot find it in their community. So I'm here to tell you that we are here. You're not alone. You're not alone. Thank you. You're not alone. And I'm 29 years old. I'm not trying to, throw my age out there. But I'm 29 years old, and me having the first and only ABA clinic in Gary, Indiana is not okay. We should have had one. Me having the only child care center that specializes in autism, I have a waiting list with 60 kids on it because their mothers don't have anywhere to send their kids that can help them with their disability. And I've been the only one for 3 years. Well, before that, I was the first one. So I feel like that we need our community to come together and help one another. That's what the children, that's what the youth needs to see. That's what our kids with developmental disabilities need to see. People that care about them, people that are there for them, people that want them to succeed, not only as a child, because early childhood education is the most important. You got to hit it while it's early, but as they grow. In Mirville, there are children with disabilities that are running shops and running stores and paying for stuff and at the register at the grocery store, and there's so many welcoming arms for children everywhere. And yeah, Mirville is 1 block away, but to my families that live on 5th Avenue, that's 45 blocks away. That's 50 blocks away. So I'm just here to say that it takes a village to raise a child, And if you need a village to help you, We Are the Village is here to help you. Thank you. I do have brochures, and if you need to reach out and contact us, our location is 4030 West 5th Avenue in Gary, Indiana. We're located at the old library on 5th Avenue, and our ABA clinic is on 49th and Broadway. It's called All Things Autism. I'm sure many of you rode past and seen it. If you need any help, any child that has any disability, even if it's your cousin, you just need somebody to give a little motivation, you can contact us at 219-777-8170, and our website is wearethevillageinc.com. Thank you, and remember, it takes a village to raise a child.